Hello everyone and welcome to another classic guitar video. Get my beard straight first. Tonight's guitar is going to be special to me in that it's a BC Rich. Guys know how I feel about BC Rich. It's not a high-end guitar. It's only about I think they run about $280 brand new. This one is brand new. Person played it a couple of times and put it to the side and decided he didn't like playing guitar. So it's for all intents and purposes brand new. It is new from this year. It is a BCR3N. N is for natural. It's flamed maple, natural color. It is an acoustic electric. So yeah, it's a pretty cool piece. I'm wearing a new shirt tonight to help promote. I'll have to stand up a little bit here to show it, I think. Guitar Center of Glendora, California. So they give me these. They give me a bunch of these shirts every time I do conventions and stuff. They give me a box of about 50 or 60 of them, and I hand them out. And if there's a couple left over at the end of the day, I'll keep one or two for myself, just to help promote, and I'll wear them when I go to another convention or a show or whatever, and help promote the store. So yeah, let's go ahead and have a look at this guitar. Again, it is a BC Rich BCR3N, and it is flamed maple. I know it's a little hard to see with the camera and the light. There you go. It's real flamed maple, real mahogany sides and back. Like I said, it's still new. It still has the protective plastic on the back of the tuners. Back of the tuners always have these little plastic, protective plastic you can peel off. It helps. They put them on at the factory to help protect the finish of the guitars, and tuners and stuff like that, and pick guards. This doesn't have a pick guard in it, but there's a little something in there. I need to fish it out. Ooh, I need to take it into the garage and blow it out. It's a little dusty. It's got cat hair or something on it. A little bit, not too bad. So yeah, here it is in all its glory. It is definitely out of tune. So we'll go ahead and plug this sucker in, see what it sounds like right off the bat. Should be pretty good. This shouldn't take long for me to clean and get ready. I kind of want to make this guitar a keeper, but I am going to put it up for sale. So yeah, let's give this sucker a listen. Maybe the battery's dead, I don't know. Oh, the battery's good. Okay. I won't need to replace the battery in them. Typically these will have a 9-volt battery in them. Testing 1 2 3. Hello, testing 1 2 3. Microphone's a little low, maybe. I'll have to check that out. Testing 1 2 3. Microphone seems a little low. I might have to restart the stream. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Let's go back. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, now I will unplug the microphone. I just dropped my mouse. I'm going to unplug the microphone and plug it back in and see if that does something. One, two, three. All right, there we go. Sorry, guys. I had a little microphone hiccup. All right, so back to where we were. We're going to test this. I got to switch the view for you. I'll just leave it on this view. Obviously out of tune. There we go. Try it with a little distortion. Contrary to popular belief, you can play guitar, acoustic guitar, with distortion on it. I can't play too well tonight. I got a little burr on my finger here from I was using the wire wheel, and one of the pieces of metal from the wire wheel dug into my finger, so it hurts a little to play, unfortunately. But that's all right. I'll still play a little bit. Check the chat, see if anybody's in there yet. No? Yes, maybe. Oh, yes, maybe. Maybe yes, no. Okay. Okay. Well, here it is. I'm going to take it out to the garage and blow it out. And by blow it out, I mean take my air compressor and blow out. What's this? Blow out just the dust and stuff that collects in the sound hole here. That'll just take me a minute. So I will be back forthwith in about a minute or less. Well, a minute and a half.
If those Dominion reinforcements come through the wormhole, we've lost everything. We take the ships we have, fight our way to Deep Space Nine, and destroy the anti-graviton emitter. It's our only hope. Ducat is bringing down the minefield. The Federation is about to be overrun by the Dominion reinforcements, and Wayun has ordered Rom's execution. I'm sorry. We are way past sorry. 1,254 ships. As an illustration, for 7 figures of the whole. But I guess we're all done now. And now the conclusion.
Okay, you probably heard me using the blower out there. I got a compressor. I got like 6 compressors here at this house. I've got a compressor out and back. I've got a compressor in the garage. I got compressors in the shop. I got compressors everywhere. I even got 2 in the house. But those weren't full of air, so I just thought, well, I'll go to the one that I know has air in it readily. So, okay. So here we are. Again, this is a 2017 BCR3N. It was made on March 7th, and it is number 307 off the assembly line. So there you have it on that. Then we'll go ahead and we'll tighten the tuners. There you go. There we go, Joe. And we will go ahead and start. Just detune it a little bit because I've got to detune it anyway. These strings are new, so I'm just going to leave these strings on there. And they're properly wound around the posts. So that is good. Sign. And you guys know how I feel about loose tuner heads. We talked about that last night on the guitar that the guy said he couldn't tune the guitar and keep it in tune to save his life. It's because all of this was hand loose, and you could actually take the heads and you could wobble them back and forth, and you could take the tuning pegs and wiggle them back and forth, and it's just like, no. And again, this isn't a very high-end, expensive guitar. I paid $50 for it. I'm going to turn around and resell it for I think $200 or $220. The guy just wanted to get rid of it too. He was just like, well, you know. And he lives here in Glendora too, coincidentally. So he said, I'll even bring it to you. And it's like, okay, oh, great. I'll go for that. And within about, I think it was 12 minutes from the time we got off the phone from each other, he was here at the house, and I handed him $50 for this guitar. So that was pretty cool. And it's a genuine BC Rich. BC Rich has been around since 1969, started by Bernie Rico Sr. I worked for BC Rich for a time during the early 1990s in a custom shop. So I'm a real proponent and believer and lover of anything BC Rich. I don't care if it's a cheap $100 bronze series or a $5,000 custom shop. It really doesn't matter to me. I love all of them. In fact, tomorrow's guitar is probably going to be that Telecaster Carina BC Rich custom shop that I made when I worked for BC Rich in the 90s. And I'm going to just do a cleanup on that and finish it up. And somebody expressed interest in buying it, but it would be pretty expensive. It'd be like, I wouldn't take a penny less than about $2,200 for it. That's just all there is to it. It's made of real Hawaiian Carina wood. It's a beautiful piece. It's literally one of a kind. You will not find another one. I know because I made it. So that's how I know it's one of a kind. So there is that. There's still a little something floating around the guitar. I can hear a little piece. Sometimes a little shard of wood will come off, or usually I hate to pick up an acoustic guitar and shake it and you hear all kinds of little things that you hear, and it's just the slapping of the electrical cords in there for the electric pickup in it, because it is an acoustic electric. So that's what you're hearing in there. Now we'll go ahead and we'll tighten these. You guys remember how I tighten these. Take my thumb, make sure there's nothing in the way to scratch. And you don't want to go too tight on these because these only have about 2.5 threads on the nut. And you will strip the nut and or the tuning peg. or you'll crack the head, or you'll crack the headstock, or you'll crack the finish, and you don't want that. I almost did that on last night's guitar, but luckily I was able to not do that. And I know pretty much how tight to go on these, what the stopping point is, breaking point, if you will. And then I don't go any tighter. He said he didn't have any tuning issues getting it in tune, but he did say it would not hold a tune very long, and that was because the tuners are loose. The tuners are loose, it's not going to stay in tune. You have to have those tuners tight. I know a lot of people don't like to have the tuners tight, but it's better to have them tight and the guitar stay in tune than loose and not in tune. So it's like, which do you prefer? Which do you want? Okay, so I'll go ahead and move the camera position back. I still have to get to that other computer in the back, my Alienware. My water-cooled Alienware Alex, which is my main streaming computer. I've got 4 cameras. So, oh, and then when he bought the guitar, he had the guitar store. I think he bought it at a Guitar Center, Pasadena, I believe he said is where he bought this. They had him put on these little fret markers. I'm going to take them off. I obviously don't need these. They're just a sticker, so I'm just going to take them off. If you take them off carefully, you can save them, and then if I get a customer that actually wants these, then I can then I have them. I'll just save them on a little piece of plastic or something, or an old package of string wrapper or something, and I can repurpose these and resave them. And yeah, so I save everything. I don't throw anything away in case a customer says, hey, you know what, I'd kind of like to have markers on my frets because I'm just learning. And then I'll be like, well, hey, I've got some, I'll throw them on there for you. I won't charge anything for you. Actually, I probably should charge these. I know these markers are about $4. It's not a big deal, but every penny counts these days. It's not very often I get to make a good profit on a guitar. I mean, I paid $50 for this. I'm going to sell it for $2 or $2.20. But that's a pretty rare case. Most of the time I'm only making about $20, $30, $40, $50 a guitar. It's not, you know, I'm not making a killing at this. I'm making a living. And I do it more for the love of guitars, as you guys know. And now it left some sticky behind, so I'll have to polish that off. And the back is pretty. It has the R logo for BC Rich, and then up at the top of the back of the headstock it says BC Rich since 1969. It does have a couple little surface scratches on it, but I can take the surface scratches off with my thumbnail, so I know they're just surface scratches. So that's a good sign. That's a good thing. It's a pretty cool guitar, so I expect to sell it fairly quickly because these are not exactly rare, but they're not common either. You can't walk into any store and see these sitting on the shelf or hanging on the wall. You just don't. You have to special order them and then wait, and then most music stores do not stock these. Not because they don't sell well, but because mostly when somebody walks into a music store, when it comes to an acoustic guitar, first thing out of a person's mouth is Yamaha or Epiphone or Gibson or Taylor, Ovation, you know, etc. So, and we'll make sure the thing is tight, and we'll test the battery, and I'll show you how I test batteries real quick. So these typically have a 9-volt in them. Positive on the left side. So what I do is I just, here, I'll show you on my, test the battery, testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, here's the battery. And you just go like this. And if it singes, not singes, but kind of tingles your tongue a good amount, you know you've got 8, 9 volts in there. So that's a quick way to test it without a voltmeter. And it's a good battery. It's an Energizer, so it's a heavy-duty Energizer. So with that said, we'll flip this back over. We'll detune it, move the strings over, and we'll do the frets and fretboard. The only thing that I wish this guitar had was the Klasic BC Rich cloud inlays. That would be awesome. I would be flabbergasted and want to keep this guitar if it had those. But it has the typical BC Rich diamond fret markers on there, which is fine. I don't mind that. They are what they are, and that's what they are. Tuning it, and we'll detune it enough to move the strings to the side with my little clips like you guys see me do. But I love BC Rich. I've always liked BC Rich. They have the classic shapes like the Bitch, the Warlock, the Virgin, the Ironbird, and so on. I love BC Rich. In fact, I have the, not to brag, but I have the largest BC Rich collection, private collection, on the entire West Coast, and as far as I know, the Midwest. And I think there's maybe one other guy that has a slightly larger collection than I do, or the same amount as I do, or slightly less than I do on the East Coast. So yeah. So just move these to the side like that. And yeah, we just move them to the side. Now I could take the pegs out and then move the strings to the side, but I want to see if I can keep them to the side with my little handy dandy clips first. If I can, great. What I do is I very carefully just pin them to the side like that so I don't scratch the sound hole. And these are just typical little paper or folder clips. I think these are technically called folder clips, I think, but I'm not positive. And you can get them at any office supply place. You get the small ones. And just very lightly go like that, and see, they hold these strings apart. Pretty awesome. So I have to go borrow my brother's drill. I did finally order a new drill today, guys. How long has it been? Like 3 months, 2.5, 3 months. I finally ordered a new drill. I was going to get the 18 volt, but I accidentally ordered the 12 volt, so it'll be the same one. That's alright. I'll get the 18 volt next time. It's not a big deal. I'm only using it to do frets and fretboards. I'm not drilling holes with it or drilling concrete with it or anything like that, so it's not a big deal. So I will go borrow his real quick. I think he's still awake. borrow your drill again?
War is such.
Borrow your drill again?
Don't you agree?
Perhaps if you didn't talk so much, your throat would
You know what I
be
did like a dummy? I accidentally ordered the 12 volt.
Kardashians do like to talk.
When I was
I
gonna order
suppose
this
it
one.
can be a failure at times. To the conquerors of the Federation.
But you're being a bit premature.
I don't think so. Now with 2,800 Dominion ships waiting to come through that wormhole.
Well, those ships aren't going to be here for another 5 hours, and need I remind you, a lot can happen in that moment.
Anyway, have you ever been diagnosed as anhedonic?
Do you think I'm incapable of experiencing joy just because I'm cautious?
We didn't defeat the Federation by being cautious.
We haven't defeated it yet. And even if we do, it's only the beginning. Holding on to a prize as vast as the Federation isn't going to be easy. It's going to require an enormous number of ships, massive occupation army, constant vigilance. I look forward to it.
Yeah, next time around I get the
Also
18
look
volt
forward to occupying Beijing.
thing.
And we all know what disappointment that.
Alright,
Sure, I merely implemented policy
here's the drill in all its glory and paramount.
quite differently.
This is not the one I ordered today. The one I ordered is just exactly like mine. It's 12 volt. I was going to order the 18 volt, but I accidentally ordered the 12 volt instead. Not a big deal. Next time around, I will get the 18 volt. I mean, 6 volts. It's not that big of a deal. It's a little more power. That's all. But like I said, I'm not drilling concrete holes with it or anything, or steel holes, or I'm drilling. I'm cleaning frets and fretboards with it.
You in the first place. To force them.
Okay, so we got our before picture. And we'll start this puppy up. And you know what, if I get the new one and I decide, screw it, then I'll probably maybe I will order the 18 volt and just keep it to the side. And, I'll every other time I'll switch out. One day I'll use the 18, the next day I'll use the 12. Because by the time my 12 volt one goes bad and I go to use the new one might be, the battery might be bad if it sits new in the box for 6 months or a year and a half. The battery will already be bad in it. So I don't want to do that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, here we go. Careful. Whew, there we go. We gave it a good workout this time. My brother hasn't had this drill very long either. He actually won. He didn't buy it. He won it. He won enough points on his credit card, and they said, "Here, have a drill." They're not expensive. They're only like 40 bucks. So it's not like it's a high-end drill by any stretch of the imagination. Get my rags out and ready to rock and roll. And we're starting off with another clean rag. That's just a shadow right there. See? And here we go. Ooh, man. Look at that. No difference. Pretty wild. I'm gonna have to turn my fan on because I'm getting hot. It's 81.5 degrees in here. I'm not running my swamp cooler because it takes a little more electricity, and it's not like it was 100 degrees outside today. So I will just turn on my box fan in the window, and it's like I think 71 degrees outside, so that nice 71 degree air coming into here will feel like a dream. Let me chat real quick. I was hoping a certain friend was going to come in, but I guess she went to bed already, which is alright. Alright, here we go. Pretty cool. I might have to file a couple of these frets down. A couple of them are a little bit sharp on the edge. So I'll get the file out and I'll just kind of file the ends down a little bit. You guys have seen me do that hundreds of times. So. And the fretboard is real rosewood. Pretty cool. Now, a lot of people complain to me, why don't you put a spray dressing on the fretboards? Sometimes I do, but normally I don't. Reason being, that spray can get absorbed into the wound strings and dull the sound of the strings. And that shine that those sprays do only lasts about a week, and then you go back and look at your fretboard and it's all dry again. So I'm not too big of a proponent of oils or sprays on frets and fretboards. In fact, I've done it both ways for customers, and customers like the way I do it this way better because it lasts longer. I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of guitars like this over the years, and I've not ever gotten one complaint or criticism about it at all, ever. And I mean that. People always rave about it and go, man, look at that fretboard, and it's, you know, it's awesome, it looks great, and it's slick, and it feels good. Plus those sprays, you know, they attract dust, finger oils, sweat, dirt. I'm not too big of a proponent of those. If I get a customer that says, yeah, I must absolutely treat it with it, then I will. But generally I don't like to use those for the stated reasons. So this fretboard's going to look pretty amazing when I'm done with it. looks pretty darn spiffy. There we have it. Fretboard in, what, I don't know, less than 10 minutes. And we'll see. Oh God, before and after is just like no comparison. Beautiful. Oh, I ordered the batteries for my DSLR today, my D90, and my JVC hard drive camcorder, because the fair, LA County Fair, opens Friday. I don't think we're going to go this weekend, but probably next weekend. And I need my batteries to last longer than half an hour or an hour. So I ordered new batteries off Amazon today. I'll get those probably about, I think they said Sunday. Saturday, I think, and then not this weekend, but the next weekend I'll be going to the LA County Fair. I'm going to go at least one day, if not 2 days. You guys know I love the fair. Okay, now let's decide if I'm going to file some of these frets down a little bit. Usually the way I test is I'll run my fingers across the sides like this, and then if I get a finger that kind of catches my skin or fingernail a little bit, then I know that one to be one that I need to file down a little bit. I got one here that's pretty sharp, so I will get my little file assortment out and file some of these puppies down. Here's my file assortment. Not expensive. Harbor Freight for like, I think it was $6 or $8, something like that, thereabouts. So I usually just pick a flat one and put it on the edge, and then I just go like this, just enough to grind the tip off, and that's it. I always use multiple fingers. More fingers, you don't want to go like this. You want to have as many fingers on a file as humanly possible, because you really can't file down a mistake if you make a mistake. Once you've made that mistake, it's pretty hard to eliminate it, you know. Usually it only takes about, 5 to 10 strokes, and then then you're good. You know? That one's a little rough. You just go very lightly, just pretty much just the weight of your hand or the weight of your fingers on it. You don't want to bear down, because less is more. If you take too much off, you can't put it back. So that one's a little iffy. Oh, mercy. Yeah. one here. Where was it? I lost it. Yeah, that one could use a little more. And typically when I file, I go down only. Only sometimes will I go up and down, if you noticed. I'll just go down like this. And that's pretty good. I didn't make any scratches or anything on the side of the fretboard. I'm pretty good at not doing that. Now if this were a $1,000 guitar, I wouldn't use my $8 Harbor Freight files on it. I would get my Precision $250 file set. Do it with those. But since this is not a particularly expensive guitar, I'll just use my regular ones. Check you guys on chat. Hello. So yeah, I mean, this is where we're at with it so far. So yeah, the frets and fretboard look beautiful now. We got it nice and slick. So yeah, now I can just simply go ahead and start polishing the body. I don't need to do anything to the bridge or the pegs. Normally I might need to take the bridge out and shim it up or shim it down if I want to adjust the action height. But the factory action height is pretty good, so I'm not going to mess with it. Typically I will leave acoustics at their factory height. I won't do any adjustment. For instance, if I were to shim this one down or shave material off the bridge and put it back and make the action low, now if somebody wants to buy this guitar and they say, hey man, the action's too low, then I can't do much about it. I mean, I can take this out and I can re-shim it back up, but that takes time and effort and money to do that. So I will typically leave acoustic bridge heights at factory until when or if the customer says, yeah, I want the action higher or lower or don't do anything. So there is that aspect of it. So we'll just go ahead and we'll start in polishing this sucker up. It doesn't have any major dents or dings in it. It is brand new after all, 2017. So it's got no big scratches in it. It doesn't have any scratches in it really, or dents or dings or scrapes or gouges or anything in it. So it's flame maple top. It's real flame maple. It's not a Fox or fake. And then we'll just polish this puppy out. And sometimes people have their, their spittle marks on the guitar, so you get those out too, and fingerprints and palm prints and everything else prints, and it works out pretty good. And we'll get pictures of this tomorrow, and I will get it back up for sale at $200 or $220. And I'm sure somebody will be all too happy to have this guitar. Might have to do this twice. I don't know yet. It's got quite a few little spittle marks on it. So, yeah. But she's a beaut. I like it. Pretty purty. I got a late start tonight because a friend of mine was streaming, so I wanted to finish watching her. So I'm getting about an hour late start here, but that's alright. I'm not complaining. There's a spittle mark there, and a spittle mark there, and a spittle mark there, and a spittle mark here. Lots of little spittle marks. Not a big deal, they come out relatively easy, and sometimes some people's spit is very acidic, and I've actually seen people spit eat away at the clear coat on a guitar. And I'm just like, man, dude, you got some gnarly friggin' spit that eats away at the acrylic clear coat of a guitar. No offense, man. No offense. Usually in that case, I will have to break out the rubbing compound. And, yeah, I'll have to rub and put a new surface, polish a new surface on it. It doesn't happen too often. I'm more or less joking, but more or less I'm joking. But it does happen from time to time. Yeah. Okay, that's the first coat, if you will. Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty darn good. Yeah, it's just, you'll see some spittle marks left over. But I'll go over this twice, and that'll be good. It wasn't too hot today. It was only about 92 today, I think it was. So not too bad today. It's supposed to start heating up for the weekend, so I think there's a possibility I might go to the fair this weekend, but I doubt it because I won't have my new camera batteries, so I want to do it when I have my new camera batteries. I don't want to go when I've only got 30 minutes of battery power in the cameras, because I'm a major shutter bug and I take hundreds and hundreds of pictures at the fair. I mean, I think the most pictures I ever took one year was about 400 and something. I'm a regular shutter bug. I take pictures of everything, and you know, just what I like to do. What can I say? It's just who I am. Just what I do. Excuse me. So yeah, this guitar is turning out pretty nice so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, who wouldn't be happy with it for 50 bucks? I mean, got some pretty good deals on guitars last week. I bought that Ibanez Geo for 50 bucks too. It's just like, wow, I'm finding all the $50 guitars that are new or near new. So it's just like, okay, that's good. I'll go for that. I like making a little more than $10 on a guitar, or $30 on a guitar, or $50 on a guitar. You know, I'm not trying to make $300, $400, $500, $600 on a guitar. That really rarely happens. It does happen from time to time with me, but it's pretty rare. You know, if I find a Gibson or a Fender or something, somebody just is really ultra desperate for the money, and they're just like, yeah, buy this Fender America Strat, 300 bucks, man. Give me 300 bucks cash now, it's yours. And I'm like, oh, okay. and then I can turn around and sell it for $1,000, $1,100, $1,200. But those deals are very few and very far between. But they do happen on occasion. I had a guy, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, he claimed he had a Gibson Les Paul custom plus top, which is about an $1,800 guitar brand new, and he said he only wanted $600 for it, and I was like, bring it, I'll take it, bring it. And he's all, oh yeah, I'll bring it, no problem. And then I never saw or heard from him again after that. I emailed him about a dozen times, and it's just like, oh no, okay, well, he was either full of shinola, or he sold it to somebody else, or he took it to a pawn shop, which is a really bad idea to take a guitar to a pawn shop, an expensive guitar. If you got a guitar worth $1,000 all day, and you take it to a pawn shop, they're going to give you $200-300 for it at best. That's just the way it is. Yeah, this is coming out beautiful. Beautiful. For spacious, guys. Oops. It's got one little blem right here, but it's a factory blem. I can see it in the wood below the surface of the clear. So it's not bad. And I might do the top a third time once I do the back and the sides, so we'll see. I'm parched, I need to get a fresh drink. I think I'll do that here, and I will be back forthwith. Okay. I'm a little hot in this shirt because it's black, but I'm wearing it for you guys. My green one that I wear most nights is in the wash, so even though I have like 20 of those shirts because I bought them for my clothing business. Buddy. So the back of this, it's got a few surface scratches. I'm pretty sure I can eliminate them by about 90 to 100%. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I'm going to turn my TV show up a little bit because I want to hear it, and I'm not talking a whole lot. There's only a couple of you in chat, and you don't seem to have any questions thus far, so. And I have a BC Rich soft shell gig bag for this, so it says BC Rich on the side of it, so I am going to keep that unless somebody just absolutely goes ape gaga over it and wants it. Then it'll be another $30. Normally, you guys know I do not include cases with my guitars because I have found that most people do not like the cases that I include, even though there's nothing wrong with them. But sometimes people have a different taste for a case. Maybe they want a gig bag instead of a case, or a case instead of a gig bag, or they want a brown case, or they want a blue crate case, or they want a tweed case, or they want, you know, something different other than what I'm offering them. So I stopped including cases with my guitars about 5 years ago. And you know, if somebody wants a guitar, they're not going to not buy it because I don't include a case with it. Plus, it keeps the cost of the guitar down. Because very rarely do I have somebody complain about my price, and they go, "Man, your price is so high." In fact, people tell me, I just had somebody just today, in fact, say he didn't disagree with a price that I had on a Washburn flame maple top guitar. He said the price was good, and I said, well, part of that is because I'm not including a case. You know, a case can represent anywhere from $20 to $200 to the added price of a guitar. And sometimes people don't realize that or understand that. Whew. So, yeah. Alright. Let's get our first run off of this and see what she looks like. Pretty good. I'm gonna have to go over it a second time and maybe a third time, but that's alright. I'm not arguing about that. Yeah, I got some other spots I need to go over again, but it looks pretty darn good, huh? Looks pretty darn spiffy, as my dad used to say. Go, son, that looks pretty spiffy. Oh, thanks, Dad. Very spiffy, indeed. Spifferific. So this is number 2 coating. If anything, this gives you a good workout. That's for sure. Whew. I'm gonna have to put these rags in the washer again because they're starting to get build up on them with wax and polish and whatnot. Not a big deal. I pretty much do laundry a couple of times a week sometimes, so not a big deal. Oh wow, yeah, I can see the second. I love the smell of a freshly polished guitar. Love that smell. Love it. Oh, merciful. Hoping I'm not getting my Guitar Center shirt dirty.
show you guys again my beautiful
Guitar Center. On my beard. My Guitar Center Glendora shirt that was so generously given to me by CK, the manager of Guitar Center Glendora. She gives me from time to time a batch of them to take to conventions, guitar conventions like the California World Guitar Show I just went to, the Amp Show, the Guitar Show, stuff like that. And she gives me a handful of those and a handful of picks or whatever else she happens to have. She's a really great person and a very good manager. Very smart, very nice. She's helped me out with a few problems getting some factory Ibanez Artcore parts, factory direct. So that's pretty good. And there was once a mess up on an order where I paid for it, but for whatever reason there wasn't any proof on their computer that I had paid for it, even though I had a receipt. And they were working on the problem, and some of the employees were like, well, you need to pay for it, and even though you did pay for it, and she was like, no, just let him take it. He already paid for it. She remembered me coming in and ordering them, buying them, so it was pretty cool. That was for that Ibanez Artcore AF 85 that I had. I needed what did I order for it? Oh gosh, what did I order for it? It was a pick guard and the hardware for the pick guard and a tailpiece bridge. So yeah, she ordered those for me, and yeah, it was really good. So here we go, back to the BC Rich
2017 BC Rich BCR3N. And we will do the coat number 3 on the polish. And away we go. Here we go. We're doing pretty good on the polish here. I'm pretty happy with it. That'll be number 3. I might have to get another fresh rag here. We'll see. Just dry for a second. And then polish it right off. You start off not heavy-handed. Most people, they go and they put swirl marks and smudges in it. No, you go just the weight of your hand, and then you can put a little more oomph into it once you've picked up most of the polish. And you can flip it over and use the other side. Get the edges, and pretty good. There we have it. That's number 3. I think 3 is going to be the magic number. As you can see, it's pretty spectacular. So you see the reflection of everything in the room here. It's so good. Okay, I'll rest a minute, and then I will do the sides. And then the neck, I'm just going to put a light coating in it because the neck is satin finished, but it's kind of a semi-gloss. I shouldn't say satin, it's semi-gloss. And then I'll do the tuners, and then the face of the headstock, and then I'll probably do the top a 3rd time. I guess that'll be a 4th time. No, it'll be a 3rd time. And then tune it up, and we'll be done. Don't need to intonate it. It's factory intonated. Has a graduated bridge in it, so it's already factory intonated, if you will. See how you guys do in the chat? With any at all? I need to change my... I keep forgetting to do that. Dang it. BCR3N Acoustic Electric. I have to be more diligent on that. I'm not quite used to it yet. I'm used to my Ustream TV way of doing things. Yeah. Or I'll do it within Wirecast. Wirecast has it, so you can put the subject and the topic in your line. Maybe I'll do that from now on, because I'm more used to doing it that way. So, yeah. Okay, let's do the coat for the sides, top and bottom, and the crotch. And I have to take the sticky off from these markers, so I will do that too. I think tomorrow night I'm going to do the BC Rich Telecaster, the custom shop Telecaster that I built back in the 90s. I was hoping to do a friend's guitar. Well, tomorrow's Thursday. I was hoping to do it Friday, but she said Friday wasn't good for her, so we will do it on another day. Maybe Sunday, maybe Monday, we'll see. I'll have to confer with her and keep conferring with her until we find a day excuse me, to do it, which is not a big deal. I remember this episode of Star Trek Voyager. Ooh, wow, sides are beautiful. Beautiful. Might have to do a couple of these sections again. Okay, flip this puppy over to the other side. And we'll do the sides and the crotch, which is what I call it. The cutaway is technically what it's called, but I like to call it the crotch, just for fun. It's the crotch. This is the crotch right here. The Devil's Crotch. There's actually a guitar named that. BC Rich brought a guitar out. Not very many people know about it. And even BC Rich experts will say that never happened. But there was a guitar model and shape that was called the Devil's Crotch. And I happen to have one. And I have some body blanks, and I might remake them. Because I can. And moreover, I will. Oh. Oh, mercy. I'm a little tired today, but it's alright. Today was Craigslist renewal day, so that takes me about 6 hours of just sitting at Craigslist and clicking the renew button on all my postings. So I'm a little bit weary from that. But other than that, I'm doing swimmingly. As my dad used to say, I'm doing quite swimmingly. How about you? That was kind of one of his catchphrases. How are you doing today, Ralph? I'm doing swimmingly. Okay. Good for you, kind sir. Gotta do a little more here and a little more here. Other than that, we're almost done polishing. And again, setup on this won't take very long. It's just a matter of retuning it. That's the setup on it. You know, there's no setting string height or intonation for the reasons I specified a few minutes ago. Just really kind of no reason to. They don't give you very many options on an acoustic guitar or an acoustic electric guitar for individual string height or intonation or any of that. Amazingly enough, a lot of the vintage guitars are intonatable, and you can set the string height action individually, which is actually kind of cool, but not very many have that option anymore. A lot of the old Epiphone Norlands have that option, and so on. So there is that. Dry for a second. Ooh, yeah, oh wow. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Beautiful. We'll have pictures of this on my Klasic guitar website, Facebook, and Twitter on the morrow around 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be back up for sale and ready to go. And yeah. People ask me why I don't use my drill buffer or a small hand mechanical electric buffer to polish my guitar. Sometimes I do, especially if it's a black guitar or a guitar that has a lot of micro scratches in it. I will do that, but typically I will do it by hand, just because that's all that's required, or I just simply like to do it by hand. Yeah. If it's a particularly expensive guitar, a rare guitar, I might take the electric to it, but that's not too often. I will put it that way. Okay. Now we can do the neck. And then we will be done. I will do the neck up to the headstock, because the headstock, once you get to the headstock, then the satin finish really takes over. Like I said, on the neck is more semi. Excuse me. Is more semi-gloss. So let's go ahead and get started on the neck. I'll move the view for you so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I'm going to pick this up and just, whoops. I want it to go off the edge of my thing here, so move it down a little more. And I'll just go like this. And that will give a nice glide with somebody's hand across the back of the guitar. And I will just go up to the neck, because the back of this neck, you can see the satin finish. The semi-gloss finish turns into more of a gloss. Excuse me. The semi-gloss finish turns into a satin finish at the back of the neck. I'm sorry. So, use the rag. Oh yeah. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I will just, for cleaning the back of the neck, because there's fingerprint marks, I will just simply use my rag, which is already kind of impregnated with polish from wiping off the guitars. And I'll just kind of do this, and like the fingerprints will come off very easily. Fingerprint smudges, and then I'll individually polish the tuners here in a second. Give it a few minutes here. You just go lightly, you don't want to go hard, because then you start to put marks in the satin finish. And just keep going until all the fingerprints and whatnot disappear. It doesn't take too long. And there we go. Yeah. Done. Now, when it comes to the tuners, you want to be careful with putting polish on the satin finish, because you will put a polish mark in it. So I will not put any fresh polish on this. It's already impregnated with polish. I keep using that word, and some people don't like it when I use that word. I've actually had people complain about me using that word. It's impregnated. Okay, what word do you want me to use? It's like, you shouldn't use the word impregnated. Why not? That's, impregnated doesn't mean just having a baby. It does mean other things, contrary to popular belief. But anyway, at any rate, I think I need to retighten that head a little bit. It's kind of not so really. Don't use that word impregnated. Okay, what did I say? I'll not use the word impregnated. Fine, you win. I'll just go over the tops a little bit here and a shaft of the tuning machine. And then, if I'm really careful, I can go to the tops of the tuners. And then the sides. Be careful not to try and touch any polish to the satin finish. I use my thumb. I've done this enough times to where I know how to gauge the distance. And then you do the round part of the tuner. Typically you don't have to put much on there because these are already pretty clean. I mean, if these were really corroded, then I would take the tuners off and polish them. Either on wheel polisher or by hand or whatever. Just wipe the polish off. And we're done. Very hard. And I want to be careful not to pull the plastic, protective plastic over the tuners, because that's kind of a selling point with the guitar, in that the guitar is new. I can very legitimately say that the guitar is new and still has the protective plastic on the tuners. And I always say that in posting, or if this had a pick guard, I would say the protective plastic is still on the pick guard, if that was the case. And then I could legitimately say that, and it would be true. So there is that aspect of it. And all six of them are on, so there you have it. Now I'll look at the back again, see if I want to do the back one more time or not. I don't think so. I mean, I've already did it, what, 4 times? So I think it's pretty well, we can call it done. Yeah, I think we can call that done. We can call that done. And then I have to do the top of the headstock. So I'll do that real quick while I got the strength left in my back to do that. I'm getting tired. Okay. So I will get my impregnated rag. Maybe I won't impregnate it some more. I don't know why I use that word. My dad used that word a lot. If something was impregnated, like a rag had wax in it, or something was, you know, like that, he would say, oh, it's impregnated with this or that or the other. Yeah, Dad. And our mom would be like, wow, why are you saying that? And it's like, well, it's true. It's impregnated. But you don't need to say it. Well, that's what it means. Basically. It's like, okay, well, it is a word that you can use for other things besides having a baby. And the top of the headstock is flamed maple also, and it is real flamed maple, it's not pseudo. So there is that. I'm tired. I'm going to finish this pretty quickly. I'm going to have to do it again because I see some spittle marks on the headstock here, so I'm going to have to do those spots over again. Again, you want to be careful not to polish with the strings. You don't want to go like this and take the strings with you. I've done that before myself, and other people do that all the time. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. That would not be copacetic. That's another word to be used around here, copacetic. not very copacetic. Okay. If it isn't copacetic, then it is not copacetic. We want to make it copacetic. Funny words we say, or our parents say, or used to say. It's quite amazing what we pick up from our parents, and their parents, and their parents' parents, and their parents' 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 parents. That apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's another one my dad used to say. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Or one bad apple spoils the bunch. That's another one he used to say. People tell me I should write a book of all these old sayings, but it's like, you know, I'm sure somebody's written that book already. Because I pretty much know all of them, I think. You're very close to all of them. Okay, we got all the spittle marks off the headstock. The headstock is absolutely pristine and perfect, and I need to sit down because my back's killing me. Oh. Whew. Then we will tune this sucker back up. I do need to tighten this head back up a little more. It's a little not tight. So we'll try to tighten it a little bit more. Sometimes if you go back a second time, you can tighten them a little tiny bit more, even if it's a 32nd of a turn or a 16th of a turn. You can turn them a little bit more without stripping the Phillips head screw in it. We'll go ahead and move the camera. I hate having to move this camera every time, but I gotta make room to get back to the guitar, back to the other computer back there in the corner. And I have a, let's see, I don't know, a 350-year-old piano back there that's kind of in the way, sorta, kinda. It's a 350-year-old pianoforte that I bought off Craigslist, of all places, for, I think, $300. Okay, I'm gonna grab another fresh soda, and I'll be right back. So probably juice or something.
We need to concentrate our efforts from week 10. Alright. Dismissed.
Steady on, Paris. Bound by a sleep that brings no rest.
The dawn, the shadow of a woman called from the mountain, his eyes opened.
709. Did you find Madame Torres?
Sorry to disappoint.
Oh, sir. Oh, sir. Unpleasant news delivered by the most pleasing of messengers.
Okay.
No, 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 no.
Oh, fudge.
The scourge of the apprentice. The trainer like shine light away.
You get to watching these Star Trek shows, and you see they reuse a lot of the actors in some of the subsequent series, like this woman here I'm looking at. I can't show you on screen because I'll get a copyright probably, but I recognize this actress because they used her on the same show on Voyager in another episode. She's playing an alien in that. It's amazing what you recognize when you watch these shows over and over and over again. Personally, I can't get enough of these shows. I could watch them over and over and over and over and over again, and I do. I'm just putting the strings back in their respective place. And one string came off. I need to put it back on its post. I actually need to take my Brillo here and Scotch-Brite and kind of re-brighten the strings up a little bit, the unwound strings. Give them a little bit of a new surface, even though strings are new, but give them just kind of a little bit of a new little surface. So that's not a big deal. Can't do the wrapped strings. I mean, you could, but if it gets to that point, then you need to replace the string if the string has too much corrosion on it or whatnot. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Make sure I don't need to polish in here before I tighten the strings up. So let's go ahead and start doing that. And I'm not trying to get them in tune the very first try. I'm just getting them in place, if you will. You want to be careful with the string winder. I use these string winders because they work a little faster. But you don't want to scratch the side of the headstock. So typically what I'll do is I'll take some sandpaper and I'll just kind of soften the edges of them up a little bit. That helps out a lot. Huge flaming rush, so. And I want to get the string lines all under each other, so I don't want to get them all bird's nested. Make sure all the lines are under each other one at a time. And then I will rewind the string that came off of the headstock here.
I've given you enough help. Where's that piece of metal?
Go all under each other. And I'm pretty good at putting strings that have come off back on. I'm well known for being expert at doing that. And making them look better than factory. When you break a string, usually it's going to be the high E string, because that's the thinnest string, if you will. You make sure each string is in its respective groove on the bridge. Even these wooden bridges have little tiny grooves. And then what is that? There's something in there that I don't see, that I didn't see before. What is that? Huh. It looks like that's some spittle on the bridge. Might have to loosen that string and kind of clean that off a little bit without messing. Oh no, there it goes. It's coming. It's coming. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. That's good. All right. I'm gonna sit down. My back's killing me. Oh, chit chat. That sounds good, doesn't it? I think we'll call that done. That's in tune. No, we won't call that done. I'll wash my hands and then I'll double check the strings here. Make sure the wrappings are good around the post. And make sure they're all tight. My hands so I don't fingerprint up the guitar that I just spent an hour polishing. And I'll usually take the butt of a screwdriver or my small hammer with the nylon end, and I will tap before I tune. And make sure all the pegs are in all the way. And then I'll go wash my hands and I will be back forthwith. Too much. We will agree to disagree on that. Sorry, I was just talking to somebody about another YouTuber. Excuse me. Speaking of spittle, when I did that, I just spittled on the top of the guitar myself. So I will have to repolish the top again anyway, which I think I'll do anyway because you always want to make the top of your guitar kind of your showpiece as best you can. So I will go ahead and plug it back in and get this sucker tuned up. Again, I don't have to do anything on the intonation as it's already factory intonated. Tuning is called harmonic. Most people tune like this. And that doesn't give quite an accurate tune. It'll give a tune within 75, 85, 95%. That does better. listen. Okay, perfect tune. Perfect tune. Make sure the tone and volume are up all the way on the pickup in this. You want to go fairly slow when bringing it back up to tune. You don't want to pull the pegs out. You don't want to snap the neck off. You don't want to pull the bridge up. You don't want to break the string. So I usually go about an octave at a time. Now we'll listen. Ooh, wait a minute. Almost there. Usually by the time you get up to the high E string, the low E string is out of tune again. Because, you know, you're slightly bending the neck, the headstock, and the bridge on an acoustic guitar. You're bringing everything in like this. A little bit. That's pretty close in tune here. Good. We gotta do it again. Because again, we got that flex, so. Really hurts when I do this because I have to slightly lean forward. You know, that tooth, they call it the toothbrush bend, you know, where you got that slight bend forward, and it wreaks havoc on my bad back. Should be pretty close to perfect. Okay, now I will pick it up and play it. Yeah, we'll see how close we are to perfection on the tune without getting the guitar all marked up and dirty from polishing it. Pretty good. I always like to put a little flange on it because then I can tell. It's hard to do it because of this finger. I have a problem with my finger. That really hurts my finger. I got this problem with this finger right here. I had a little slight accident with it a couple days ago with the wire wheel. One of the wires came out of the wheel and went into my tip of my finger. You guys can get the idea. I'm sorry I can't play a whole song for you. Ooh, my finger is really smarts right now. But she's in perfect tune compared to when I first started the video. You couldn't even play it. So now I have to wipe my grubby fingerprints off of it that I just made. But you have to test play it because that's what a guitar is for, playing, not just looking pretty. I didn't get it too dirty, I just need to polish my schmutz off of this front and the side here, and got to do another little spot right here. But you guys heard it, I mean, it sounded absolutely badass. I need to redo the side here because that's where those stickers were. So a couple little spots here I need to redo because those stickers were there. So I'll do those real quick. but she's a beaut. I'm real proud of it. I'm real proud of it right now. Dropped the damn thing. It's like, yeah, come on, we're gonna drop this freaking thing. Come on now. Come on now, I don't need to drop it. I just bought it. Unmute my TV show. Sit back down, and I gotta redo this one little spot right here. Where'd it go? Right there. There we go. Ooh. It's amazing what you see when you sit down as opposed to standing up. I got a whole line right here I need to redo. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah. Now it's gone. I like my guitars looking pretty darn perfect. As best as possible. I mean, you know, no guitar is perfect, even fresh out of the box. A guitar isn't perfect. I can pick up a $10,000 guitar and I can find a flaw in it. Give me a minute and I can find a flaw in any guitar. I don't care what it is. I can find a flaw in anything. But I mean, look at it. It's pretty darn good. It is pretty darn good. The frets and fretboard were really dry, and they had a couple of burrs on the frets, so I took my file and filed those down. Polished the frets and fretboard twice. Tightened the tuners. I tightened the strap buttons, the pegs for the strings. I tested the battery on the pickup. I tightened the jack. Polished the whole thing twice, in some spots 4 times. Tuned it, and it's pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with it. Hey? Pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I am happy with it. An hour and 50 minutes, not too bad. I'll probably stop this video at the end of my TV show here. And then we'll call this video done. And this guitar done. And then tomorrow night I will do the BC Rich. Tomorrow night or Friday night, depending on how I feel. I'm pretty tired. I got a big day tomorrow. I have like 6 people coming over tomorrow for guitars and trades and other things. So if not tomorrow night, then Friday night I will do that BC Rich Telecaster Custom Shop Telecaster made in one solid piece of Carina wood. And it is spectacular, and I made it from scratch when I worked at BC Rich, and it is beautiful. And on a bad day, it's a $2,000 guitar. I'm going to put it up for sale, I think at $2,200. maybe 2300, because it's not one that I necessarily want to sell. But if somebody wants to give me 2300, 2200 for it, which is what one would cost if you called the BC Rich Custom Shop and said you want this Telecaster with XYZ specs, they would quote you about $2,000, $2,100, $2,200, $2,300. So I'm pretty happy with this BC Rich. I love BC Rich. They're just one of my favorite makers. They really are. Next to maybe Ibanez or Epiphone. I just love my BC Rich. Don't count a BC Rich out. Even though BC Rich has had financial problems in the past few years, and they've changed hands, and Praxis, and coming out with the really super cheap quality bronze series and platinum series and all that, I still love them, you know. I got a guy, I think Saturday, he's going to bring me a bronze series Warlock for like $50, $60, $50 or $60, and it's in pristine condition. He bought it a few months ago. He's only strummed on it a few times, he said. That's a guitar I can resell for 100, 120 bucks. I mean, you know, I won't make a killing on it, but I'll make a slight profit on it. And yeah. Oh. I'll get the guitar in a little better shot there. And the tuning issue with this is gone. The guy I bought this from said he said he couldn't keep it in tune. He could get it in tune, but it wouldn't stay in tune. He'd have to tune it several times a day. And, you know, it's because people don't think to tighten up the nuts, bolts, screws, and washers on their tuners. And that's a big no-no to not do that. So, yeah. Here I am. Here again is my Glendora, California Guitar Center t-shirt. They're one of my endorsements / sponsors. Really great store, wonderful manager. CK, KC? No, CK, duh. Yeah, her initials are her name, basically. Really nice young lady. Really knowledgeable. Really willing to help you if you have a problem or an issue or glitch. So again, that's Guitar Center in Glendora. It's a new store. They've only been open a year. They moved from Covina, from their old-time original second location on Azusa Avenue. I used to work at that store when they were across the street back in the early to mid-90s. Really great store. Good people, good employees, knowledgeable. Good store, so check them out. So back to the BC Rich. Oops. And it is a BCR, a 2017 BC Rich, BCR3N. And 3 is just the series number, and N stands for natural finish. It's got a clear coat over a flamed maple top. Beautiful guitar, pretty guitar. If I were to change anything on this guitar, I wish it had the traditional BC Rich cloud fretboard inlays. The diamond inlays are cool, but boy, if this had the cloud inlays, I'd be keeping this guitar, or I'd be wanting another 50 bucks for it. Because I love the cloud inlays. They're one of my favorite inlays of any guitar maker of all time. They're pretty cool. So if you Google BC Rich cloud inlays, you'll see them. They just look like kind of a cartoon cloud. They're really cool. I like them. So this guitar turned out pretty good. I mean, $50 I paid for this guitar. It was a good deal. I couldn't whip my wallet out fast enough because I know these are either 250 or 270 brand new. I think they're 250 brand new. They could be 270, but at any rate, they're between 250 and 270 new. I'm gonna put 200 on it, maybe 220. Somebody offers me 200 for it, I'll take it. But yeah, the frets and fretboard came out perfect. The frets have 0 fret wear on it. The fretboard has 0 wear on it. The strings are brand new. There are no scratches, dings, or dents anywhere on this guitar. You saw it. It's perfect. It does have a case with it, a BC Rich gig bag, but I am keeping the gig bag unless somebody wants to pay me an extra $30-40 for the gig bag. I'll include it, but generally I like to keep the BC Rich gig bags and cases for myself because I love them. So I'll close out this video here in about another 5-6 minutes, and yeah, again, I did order my new drill today. I should be getting that by Saturday. It's just a direct replacement of the Black & Decker 12-volt cordless NiCad drill. I did actually order the 18-volt, but for some reason I had 2 tabs open on my browser when I ordered them from Amazon, and I guess I accidentally ordered the 12-volt rather than the 18-volt, but it's not a big deal. I mean, 6 volts, big deal. You know, I'm only using it for the frets and fretboard of guitars, so I'll get another 1.5 2 years use out of that, and when I have to buy a new one, then at that time I'll be sure to order the 18-volt version. 18-volt just gives you a little bit more power, a little more oomph. I found it's really not necessary, but we'll see. I'm gonna be right back. I have to hit the little guitarist's room. Appreciate this house. Yeah. Okay. So we'll close this video out here in about 2-3 more minutes. Ooh. And again, this is a Cool. This is a got a little bit of fuzz on the end of this fret here. This is a BC Rich 2017 BCR3N in natural finish flamed maple. It's acoustic electric. It's pretty cool. The sides are mahogany, sides and back. Rosewood fretboard, flame maple top, headstock, the top of the headstock that is. And it's pretty cool. I bought this for $50. A person bought it brand new. They didn't like it. I bought it from them. They literally strummed on it a few times. I'm going to put it back up for sale tomorrow at $200 or $220. And that's it. It's pretty nice guitar. So thank you for joining me for this classic guitar video, and we'll check you tomorrow night, I think. If not tomorrow night, then Friday night, for the BC Rich Custom Shop Telecaster made in one solid piece of Carina wood. Beautiful piece. So thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you again. Thank you.